So here's a question for you. How does one musician, right, someone known for that really angular, precise kind of 90s math rock guitar sound, how does that guy end up playing on literally every single track of a Neil Diamond album? The one Rick
Yeah.
Rubin produced. And not just that, but also recording with legends like Johnny Cash, Iggy Pop,
Mhm.
and somehow being this key piece of Run the Jewels.
It really does sound like someone just like fantasy booked a festival lineup, doesn't it? Just designed to be confusing.
Yeah.
But there is a common thread. There's this impossibly flexible connection point where all these genres, all these sounds meet. And that's Matt Sweeney. He's arguably, the most ubiquitous, most trusted, and maybe most genre-defying American musician and producer of, the last 30 years, easily?
Yeah, welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today, really, is to get past just listing off all these amazing collaborators. We want to unpack the honestly extraordinary scope of Matt Sweeney's career. We need to go beyond the resume, figure out how he became one of music's most reliable, most prolific collaborators. We're looking for that super glue. What's that foundational thing that lets him connect heavy metal, noise rock, the sharp edges of math rock, but also have the precision needed for hip-hop, for country, even experimental folk.
And for you listening, the value here is, I think, pretty significant. You'll quickly get a sense of the sheer scale of his influence, sure. But more importantly, you'll understand the principle behind that success. Sweeney's story, it's like a masterclass in how incredible technical skill, when you combine it with a pretty unassuming personality,
Right.
how that translates into cross-genre credibility. His key relationships, especially, the one with Will Oldham, Bonnie Prince Billy, they really defined the shape of indie and rock music from the early 90s right up to, right now.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because before he was even in a proper touring band, Sweeney's background, it's maybe the most unlikely starting point for a future indie rock legend. He was born July 2nd, 1969, in New Jersey. But his upbringing, it seems defined by really rigorous intellectual stuff, not necessarily like basement noise jams.
Yeah, what's fascinating is this almost contradictory mix, right? You've got serious intellectual horsepower, but also this artistic discipline around him. His father was John D. Sweeney. He was a professor of medieval English at Seton Hall University.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so highly academic world, structure, precision, historical rigor, all that. But crucially, his dad was also an avid musician, so there was an artistic outlet right there within that structured environment.
And that kind of DNA for high achievement, for precision, it didn't stop there, did it?
No, not at all. His mother, Catherine Sweeney Hayden, is a federal judge.
Federal judge, okay.
Yeah. So just to be clear, we're talking about two parents operating at the absolute peak of academia and law. That's a seriously high bar set by careers that demand precision.
And that background, you have to think that understanding of structure, of execution, that's crucial, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It feels like it allows him to approach music maybe less like just, free expression and more like architecture, maybe. We should probably give a quick mention to his older brother, too, Gregory Sweeney. Also a musician, but maybe more widely known for working on that TV show, Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, while the parents were deep in law and historical studies, the sons kind of channeled that inherent rigor into the arts. Sweeney himself, he grew up in Maplewood and South Orange, New Jersey. He did briefly attend Northwestern University before making that very definite choice to drop out, which suggests, a really rapid early commitment to playing music professionally over sticking to a more traditional path.
Okay, so that pivot lands him right in the middle of the New York and New Jersey sort of noise and underground scene.
Right. Exactly. And his earliest projects, they didn't just showcase technical skill. They absolutely demanded it. His high school band, Skunk, they put out 2 albums on Twin Tone Records.
Oh, Twin Tone, yeah. Husker Du, The Replacements, that label.
That's the one. Last American Virgin in '89, and then Laid, which came out posthumously in 1990. Both of them are now, frustratingly out of print, which just gives them that instant legendary scarcity thing for collectors, right?
Definitely. But the really defining project from that early period has to be Chavez in the 90s.
Oh, absolutely. Chavez is where the world really sat up and noticed him as this foundational figure in what people started calling math rock.
Can you maybe unpack math rock a little for folks who aren't as familiar?
Sure. So math rock, it's basically a highly technical kind of post-rock subgenre. It's less about your standard melodies and more about complex, non-standard time signatures. Think playing in 78 or 1:18 time instead of the usual 44. It demands extreme technical precision and a real structural complexity from the musicians. It's not easy stuff to play.
And Chavez sounds like it was the perfect place for him to flex those muscles.
Wow.
They were on Matador, right?
Yeah, the super influential Matador label. They put out a 7-inch Repeat the Ending with Hack the Sides Away on the B-side. And then their 2 full albums, Gone Glimmering in 1995 and Ride the Fader in 1996.
And that music, it really required an almost, like you said, academic understanding of rhythm.
Yeah.
It perfectly mirrors that precision may be instilled by his upbringing.
Totally. And Chavez wasn't just the studio thing either. They were actively touring U.S. and Europe between 94 and 97. So that really established Sweeney as a guitarist who could execute these incredibly complex structures that went way beyond typical rock conventions under the pressure of playing live every night.
Right.
That technical reliability, the ability to hit that complex mark every single time, that's really the first piece of our superglue puzzle, I think.
And you can see how that reliability would make him instantly valuable as a sideman when Chavez eventually sort of wound down.
Exactly. The late 90s, he just immediately gets absorbed into the wider indie scene. He famously filled in on bass guitar.
Bass, right.
Yeah.
Not even his main instrument.
Not even his main instrument for Guided by Voices on their Under the Bushes, Under the Stars tour. And he also did some vocals on the track Quicksilver on Robert Pollard's, the GBV leader's first solo album, Not in My Air Force. So already he's proving he can move around the musical map, contribute in different ways.
And this is also when that really crucial partnership starts to form, isn't it? Quietly at first.
Yeah, this is exactly when the seed gets planted for his most important, longest-running collaboration, even while he was still holding down a day job, apparently.
Well,
Yeah, the late 90s found him starting that incredibly long association with Will Oldham, who, of course, records as Bonnie Prince Billy. Initially, it was just as his touring guitarist.
that transition is fascinating, though. He's shifting from the, noisy, angular, aggressive complexity of Chavez
Yeah.
to the acoustic, often really melancholic, but always uniquely structured world of Bonnie Prince Billy.
It's an immediate demonstration of technical range serving these vastly different emotional needs, right?
Exactly. And that foundation of trust, that versatility, you can see how it would end up defining the entire rest of his career.
Okay, so now the story takes this huge leap, really, into not quite the mainstream maybe, but definitely higher profile stuff. The year 2000 kicks off this sort of supergroup era for him, and Sweeney's profile just explodes as he starts working with some absolutely massive names in both underground and, mainstream rock.
Let's start with the Billy Corgan connection. That must have turned some heads.
Oh, big time. In 2001, Sweeney starts playing and writing with Corgan and Jimmy Chamberlin.
Most Smashing Pumpkins, yeah.
Exactly. So, given the Pumpkins' legacy, this was a massive deal in the post-grunge rock world, and it evolved pretty quickly into that supergroup Zwan.
What did Sweeney bring to that dynamic? Because Corgan's guitar style is so distinctive, that layered, kind of melodic bombast.
Well, Zwan needed something different, right? Bringing in Sweeney, with his background in that dissonant, angular precision, it fundamentally changed the band's architecture, I think. He's credited on Zwan's only album, Mary Star of the Sea, with guitar, vocals, and even some songwriting.
That's a huge jump, isn't it? From niche math rock to a major label rock machine.
It really is. It feels like he was providing this kind of structural integrity that maybe was needed for a project that seemed, inherently a bit unstable from the outside.
But the side project from that era is almost more telling, in a weird way.
The Spun soundtrack.
Yeah. He collaborated with Corgan on the soundtrack for that movie Spun, which is, an extremely dark comedy about drug culture. And the song he sings lead vocals on, a cover of Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast.
Ha! Talk about an emotional left hook right in the middle of a session, right? It just perfectly sums up his ethos around that time, the early 2000s. He can apply his talents, whether it's his super technical guitar playing or apparently unexpected metal vocals, to these incredibly high-profile but also really unexpected projects that require both authenticity and grit.
And his role as a facilitator, someone who connects people, it wasn't just limited to that world of super melodic rock, right? He was also crucial to Dave Grohl's big metal project, Probot.
Yes, Probot. This is a huge credibility marker for Sweeney. Grohl had this vision, right? Collaborate with metal singers who were absolute legends in their specific subgenres. We're talking Kronos from Venom, King Diamond, Lemmy.
Wow, the real deal.
The real deal. But Grohl needed someone who could basically map the metal underground, someone who knew who was who and could maybe make the introductions. And he entrusted Sweeney with a really critical role there. Sweeney apparently lent a helping hand, as the story goes, to Grohl in actually tracking down those legendary singers. And he provided some guitar work on the album, too.
And when the Probot album finally came out in 2004 on Southern Lord Records, Sweeney got a very specific credit, didn't he?
He did. He was credited as the executive producer.
Executive producer. That's significant.
It really is. It shows he's not just a technical guitarist for hire. He's a curator. He's a connector of, disparate talent. And someone who clearly holds deep, deep credibility within the metal scene itself, which is a pretty far cry from his Matador Records math rock days.
If you connect this to the bigger picture then, Probot really demonstrates that Sweeney had currency not just in the indie and alternative scenes, but deep within the metal underground too.
Absolutely. He's operating like the ghost in the machine,
Yeah.
running the cables between the underground and the mainstream. He's essentially being the trusted bridge builder between these musical worlds that, on the surface, seem completely opposed.
Okay, so amidst all this, heavy metal energy and big rock supergroups, the partnership that feels like the emotional anchor, the one that defines his acoustic, lyrical side, that's the ongoing collaboration with Bonnie Prince Billy.
Totally. That feels like the spiritual centerpiece of his work, in a way.
So after Zwan broke up, which was around 2003.
Yeah, 2003. Sweeney just kept touring with Oldham. And that collaboration really culminated in their defining joint album, Superwolf, which came out in January 2005 on Drag City.
And that was a huge critical success, wasn't it?
Massive. And they toured it extensively, US and Europe. It really solidified that partnership in the eyes of, the indie music world.
What is it about Superwolf that makes it so special? It's not just that they collaborated, it's the sound, the interplay between them. How does a guy who thrived in the tight, aggressive structure of Zwan shift so seamlessly into the, delicate, acoustic, sometimes really strange world of Bonnie Prince Billy? Isn't that a kind of technical and emotional contradiction?
You'd think so, but I don't think it is for Sweeney, because that same technical rigor is actually what makes him so effective in both environments. Oldham's style, it's often raw, it's melancholic, it's based on these unique, winding lyrical narratives. They require a guitar accompaniment that can really serve the song without dumbing it down.
Right.
And Sweeney's precision, that mastery of odd, sometimes dissonant little licks and unique chord voicings, it just perfectly complements Oldham's voice and storytelling. His guitar work on those records is often described as dry, wry, precise.
Mm-hmm.
It adds tension and emotional complexity exactly where it's needed, rather than just, strumming basic chords.
And crucially, this relationship wasn't just a one-off album.
No, not at all. The partnership continued. They put out the I Gave You EP later in 2005. And then 16 years later, think about that, 16 years, they released the full follow-up album, Superwolves, in 2021.
That sustained relationship really highlights his comfort with this unique kind of experimental folk style, and it contrasts so sharply with the metal and the stadium rock he was doing around the same time.
It really does. This feels like the perfect manifestation of that superglue idea we started with, discipline applied directly to emotion.
It speaks to a level of deep trust, doesn't it? A unique, shared musical language between them.
Absolutely. It feels like while he can contribute brilliantly to almost any genre, the Superwolf work is where his distinctive, highly nuanced guitar style really gets to shine the brightest. It marries that technical command he has with Oldham's complex, sort of meandering narratives.
Okay, so now we move into the era that really cements him as the ultimate session chameleon. And to really hammer this point home, I think we have to focus on one specific year, 2006, because the resume just from that single 12-month period, it reads like a game of musical Mad Libs. It shows the extreme depth of his genre fluidity. It proves his adaptability was absolutely bankable.
It's honestly astonishing when you lay it out. Let's just look at his work in country and folk that year alone, 2006. He provides guitar work alongside huge players like Mike Campbell from the Heartbreakers and Smokey Hormel on Johnny Cash's final album, American Via 100 Highways.
Wow. Talk about high stakes.
Yeah, this is reverent, high-stakes acoustic work. It's a definitive final statement from an absolute legend.
Okay. But in the exact same year, 2006, he also played guitar on the Dixie Chicks album, Taking the Long Way.
Right, which was this polished, arena-ready country record. It went multi-platinum, won a bunch of Grammys.
So he's simultaneously nailing the subtle acoustic gravitas needed for a posthumous Johnny Cash recording and the high polish, massive commercial demands of arena country music.
But wait, it gets even weirder. Because simultaneously in 2006, he dives into the world of underground hip-hop. He appears as a guest artist on the very first track of rapper Cage's album Hell's Winter.
Okay.
And critically, the other people on that track with him are Yola Tango's bass player, James McNew, and the founder of Def Jux Records, LP.
Right, LP Shamie Mullane. A foundational figure in that influential underground hip-hop label, Def Jux, known for its really dense, aggressive, almost industrial soundscape.
Exactly.
The idea that one person can authentically contribute to both the definitive Johnny Cash closing statement and a gritty, abstract Def Jux release in the same year, it's just a testament to his musical neutrality or something.
He's providing texture, maybe some aggression, that precise rock energy that LP clearly valued for that track.
Okay, is there anything else from 2006?
Oh, yeah. If we need to throw one more confounding genre into the mix for that year, he also became a member of the touring group for the seminal British apocalyptic folk band Current 93.
Current 93, wow, okay. That's deep.
Deep cuts, yeah. He played shows in Europe with them, supporting their album Black Ships Ate the Sky, and that style is, well, it's exactly as intense as it sounds. Often bleak, occult, or religious themes, with highly experimental textural instrumentation. It just shows he's equally comfortable in the absolute darkest, most niche corners of experimental music, too.
This just raises a huge question, doesn't it? What is the quality that allows you to pivot from playing guitar on a Dixie Chicks record one day to performing the dense noise of Current 93 the next?
It has to speak to an authenticity that just transcends genre boundaries. He's like the anti-gimmick hired gun.
Yeah.
He brings a distinct technical sound, absolutely. But it's a sound that somehow adapts to serve whatever environment he's in without losing its own identity.
And this adaptability, this credibility, it leads us to maybe one of the biggest validation points of his entire career.
Yeah.
The crucial Rick Rubin connection.
Ah, yes. Rick Rubin, the legendary producer known for, among many things, putting together these unlikely combinations, right, and trusting musicians to find the absolute essential core of a song.
So in 2008, Rubin had already successfully produced Neil Diamond's 2005 comeback album, 12 Songs. For the follow-up, Rubin proposes this, quote, unlikely combination of Matt Sweeney and Neil Diamond.
Yeah, and Sweeney gets brought in, and his contribution, it wasn't minimal. He ended up playing guitar on all the songs for Diamond's 2008 album, Home Before Dark, every single track.
Every track. That's incredible.
That move just completely validated his technical command in the eyes of the mainstream music industry. To meet the demands of a major label, super high-profile project for a superstar like Neil Diamond, backed by a producer with Rubin's incredibly exacting standards, it proves he wasn't just some niche indie or math rock player anymore. His adaptability was bankable. And that quality, I think, was born directly from the discipline he honed way back in Chavez.
And the session work just kept spanning this impossible gulf. You look at the list of other guitar appearances around this time.
It's wild. He appears on Cat Power's The Covers record back in 2000, playing on Salty Dog. And then later, on her 2008 album Jukebox, he gets an additional guitar credit and a songwriting credit for the track Song to Bobby. He just fits effortlessly into that sensitive, sometimes emotionally fragile world of Chan Marshall.
But then, almost immediately, he dives right back into hip-hop. He solidifies that relationship with LP, appearing on LP's 2007 solo album, I'll Sleep When You're Dead.
Right. And that partnership, rooted in that aggressive industrial Def Jux production style, it eventually moves into the global mainstream when LP teams up with Killer Mike to form Run the Jewels, or RTJ.
And Sweeney's there too.
Yep. Sweeney provided additional guitar and sometimes vocals for multiple Run the Jewels albums, including the first one, Run the Jewels 2, and RTJ 4.
It's incredible to me how his, hard rock and math rock background translates so directly into the aggressive, really detailed electronic production style of LP.
It is. It's like he's adding this layer of organic texture, maybe some rock aggression, that enhances the beats without ever muddying them up. It's a really specific skill.
And his session work in this period, it also hit some significant mainstream rock and pop releases too, right?
Oh, yeah. He played guitar on Kid Rock's 2010 album Born Free. He played bass guitar on Cold Cave's 2011 album Cherish the Light Years, which shows he could function perfectly well in a synth-heavy kind of post-punk environment, too.
And then there's that one credit that's just shocking, purely because of the sheer global scale of the album. Adele's 2011 blockbuster, 21. His name is right there in the credits list.
Yeah. Now, the exact nature of his contribution isn't specified. It might be minor. But the mere appearance on the credits of one of the absolute biggest selling albums of the 21st century, It just speaks volumes about his reach and his quiet authority within that session musician community.
You could keep listing these credits almost indefinitely, couldn't you?
Pretty much. He provided rhythm guitar on all the tracks for Jake Bugg's 2013 album Shangri-La. He played guitar on various tracks for the Tuareg band Tenariwen, blending his technical rock background with desert blues. He even showed up on the Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack EP in 2021.
He is just everywhere the music is being made at a really high, really demanding level.
Which means he's not just a hired gun, right? He's more like a sonic architect. We need to look beyond just his playing and touch on his work behind the mixing board as well, because that shows his ability to shape and define diverse sounds as a producer.
That's a great point. He uses that same versatility to shape projects right from the beginning.
Absolutely. So back in 2005, he produced the heavy metal band Early Man's debut album, Closing In. Then in 2007, he produced Dax Riggs's record, We Sing of Only Blood or Love. In that heavier space, you can kind of assume he was probably emphasizing sharp dynamics, structural tightness, taking that math rock precision he has and applying it to metal production.
But then, showcasing that collaborative, maybe softer side again, he co-produced Baby D's debut album Safe Inside the Day in 2008. And who did he partner with on that?
Bonnie Prince Billy, of course. Back together again.
And that's a vastly different environment, right? Baby D's music is highly experimental, really focused on narrative, piano, harp.
Totally different. It's less about aggressive precision and much more about collaborative mood setting, finding the right atmosphere for those songs.
So this contrast just proves his range isn't limited to just a guitar sound. It's whole philosophy of production he brings.
Exactly. And his later notable production work continued that international flavor, too. He produced the Norwegian band Turbonegra's album Sexual Harassment in 2012 that required that tight, structured rock sensibility again. And then fast forward to 2020, he produced the Malian desert rock band Songhoy Blues album Optimism. So he's shaping sounds across the whole global spectrum of rock, blues, and metal.
That versatility is just remarkable. But the pivot he made around 2013, that might be his most lasting contribution to the broader public, and especially to future musicians. I'm talking about his transition into being a digital mentor through the web series Guitar Moves.
Guitar Moves. Yeah, that series is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because it perfectly leverages his credibility, right? It's not some generic learn guitar fast show. Sweeney is the host, and the entire focus is on showing and teaching guitar techniques, but also the philosophy behind the playing. Through these direct, really intimate interviews with some of the most prominent, most idiosyncratic guitar players in the world.
He's basically extracting the secrets of the masters.
Pretty much. And his own technical background gives him the vocabulary, the understanding to ask the right, really specific questions that get to the heart of how these people play.
And the sheer stature of the people he interviewed. That tells you everything you need to know about his standing in the guitar community. These are not easy interviews to get.
No way. We're talking Keith Richards, the Rolling Stones, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
Legends.
Absolute legends. These are figures who really only talk shop, talk specifics with people they genuinely respect as peers.
So he became this kind of trusted chronicler of guitar technique and philosophy.
He really did. The series was originally produced by Vice's music channel, Noisy, from about 2013 up until 2017, but he's maintained creative control, and now Guitar Moves runs independently. He's still uploading new episodes, I think as recently as December 2023.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he basically took his encyclopedic knowledge and his unparalleled contact list and turned it into this amazing educational platform for a whole new generation of technical players.
So it's clear, his career is definitely not just a retrospective look at a finished legacy. He remains incredibly sought after, and his relevance just continues today.
Oh, absolutely. Just look at his high-profile projects in the last decade or so. It reinforces that connection to rock royalty. In 2016, he was touring with this absolute elite lineup. Iggy Pop, Josh Homme, and Matt Helders from Arctic Monkeys, supporting Iggy's post-pop depression album.
Wow. Being part of that specific touring band. That's a huge statement about his sustained credibility at the very highest levels of alternative rock.
And he kept up his high-level indie work, too. He collaborated with Stephen Malkmus on Malkmus's 2020 album Traditional Techniques, He also contributed to Josh Holmes' long-running side project, The Desert Sessions, playing on volumes 11 and 12 back in 2019. It just shows he's continually tapped by musicians who are specifically seeking technical dexterity and that distinctive kind of dry, knowing sound he has.
And even more recently.
Even more recently, yeah. In 2021, he was producing and playing bass and electric guitars with Iggy Pop again, this time on their cover of European Sun, for that big tribute album, I'll Be Your Mirror, a tribute to the Velvet Underground and Miko.
Right.
And of course, that same year, the sequel album Super Wolves with Bonnie Prince Billy came out. He just never seems to stop generating new work.
And now, in 2024, he's even co-founded a brand new supergroup, the Hard Quartet.
The Hard Quartet, yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing together major indie players once again. Stephen Malkmus is in it, Emmett Kelly, who plays with Oldham a lot, and Jim White, the great drummer from Dirty Three.
So Sweeney is always moving, always initiating these new, structurally sophisticated projects that demand really high-level musicianship.
Which brings us right back to that central question, maybe. Why should this sprawling resume matter to you, listening right now? Sweeney's career, it isn't defined by just one genre. It's defined by this consistent ability to bring incredible technical skill and authentic, detailed musicianship to absolutely any project he touches.
Yeah.
Whether it's math rock or pop music or industrial hip-hop, he shows up with that distinctive, committed sound. He feels like the ultimate expression of the musician who serves the song, serves the project with discipline and integrity.
That credit from the band Endless Boogie mentioned his wry guitar licks, and that feels like a perfect, almost understated description of his legacy, doesn't it?
It really does. He's the musician that other musicians trust implicitly to deliver structural precision and emotional weight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if they're global superstars or, underground noisemakers from Brooklyn. He treats the work the same way.
So if we were to try and summarize the key takeaways from this deep dive,
Okay.
we've definitely defined those key components. The incredible genre-defying collaborations that jump from Chavez's intense rigor to Neil Diamond's high-polished demands is just mind-blowing. Then there's that central, almost spiritual partnership with Bonnie Prince Billy, which really showcases his emotional range and depth.
Yeah, the heart of it, maybe.
And then his current role as both this key player in new supergroups and a respected independent digital guitar mentor, passing on the knowledge.
It's a career built entirely on technical mastery, coupled with this utter disregard for musical boundaries, a career that truly proves the value of disciplined, egoless collaboration.
Exactly. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you to consider.
Yeah.
Considering the sheer volume of his work, right, and his unique position as this trusted collaborator across genres that seems completely opposed to heavy metal, hip-hop, country, experimental folk.
Yeah.
What does Matt Sweeney's career really tell us about the actual separation, or maybe the lack of separation, between all these different musical tribes in the 21st century? If the guy who helped define 90s math rock is the same guy playing guitar on the Adele record, maybe those sharp lines we like to draw on the map of music, maybe they're far more porous, far more artificial than we usually imagine.